Oh my, what have we here? Oh, Brian Koberger wants to speak to the manager, is basically how his whole petition is reading. He's saying he would like to withdraw his guilty plea, which he can attempt to do, but it's rarely successful, but okay. And here's the main complaint that stood out to me. I'm reading this below here. He said, a gross misrepresentation of and promises regarding what a life sentence would immediately afford the petitioner, and a gross misrepresentation of death row in Idaho, including an elaborate story of counsel's horrific experience touring an actual 8x8 death row cell. Okay, you're looking for a room upgrade? You want to withdraw your plea? You want death row? That's what you're asking for. Okay, good luck with that.
Welcome in, everyone. Sorry, I had to I love when Grizzly gets snarky, and I just had to share that. Interesting that Koberger's now saying, I've changed my mind. I want to withdraw my guilty plea. But you got to love Grizzly. You really do. She cracks me up. No wonder she's so successful, because she's just hilarious. So welcome in, everyone. I realise I'm once again kind of late, more than kind of late, sorry. So let me have a look. Welcome, Ariel, Bonza, Camilla. Welcome in, wherever you are. Anki, Ernestine, Dodie, anyone else that I've missed? Good to see people in here. Gisela is 100% the queen of snark, and yet she still does it in a classy way. Like, you know, the rest of us mere mortals can only dream of achieving that level of snark and still remain classy. Welcome in, Emerald Jane. Good to see you here. Yeah, this was just 100% classic Grizzly. Okay, so let's talk about Parker. Welcome in, Grover. You're actually not late, because I only played like a 30-second clip from Grizzly, and that's about it. I was late myself, putting things into just finishing getting ready. Basically, I was a little bit late getting up again, as you do. I know, that's the thing. She keeps it professional. She snarks so well. She's perfected the snark. She's the queen of snark. But she's always classy with it. She does. She cracks me up. I wish I had more time to just sit and watch some of her content, just for the snark factor alone. But, you know, there's only so many hours in the day. Welcome in, Mike. I want to run some mapping coordinates by you. If you, I don't think I've got your email address. I've shared them with Chaucer and Bonza, and we're curious. We're very curious. You do the mapping better than me, so I would be very interested in if you could possibly email me, and I could run those coordinates by you and get you to just double check me, see if I've actually got the right location. Anyway, bit cryptic, but at this point in time, it's not exactly something that I believe I can share on a live stream. But I would like you to check my coordinates. They're not my coordinates, they're coordinates from elsewhere, but I would like you to double check them if that's possible, if you can email me. Okay, so Parker. I'm not going to go. Yeah, that's what we were talking about last night. So Chaucer agrees that it's probably something we just kind of chat about behind the scenes right now. But I would like to just make sure that those coordinates are correct because they're a bit interesting. Welcome in, Deborah. Okay, so I'm just going to play part of the latest press conference to do with Parker. They're scaling back. I'm going to do this as a separate video after lunch, either a separate video or I'll just jump on a live stream and just discuss the press conference with anyone else who's still awake. But yeah, it's scaling back, still no luck. But there's three different clips that I want to share with people, so I'll bring them up.
16th, well over 1,000 people from the Calgary Police Service, partner agencies, and the broader Calgary community have come together with a shared purpose, and that's to bring 11-year-old Parker home. In my 35 years with the Calgary Police Service, I have never seen such dedicated, committed, extensive, and prolonged search tactics. We are not giving up. Our approach is changing, but our resolve to find answers for Parker and his family is not. We will continue to follow up on tips, re-examine evidence, and pursue any new leads that emerge. If new information identifies an area requiring additional search activity, we are prepared and ready to respond.
I am Sergeant Daniela Cervale, and I am the supervisor.
Whoops, sorry. Bonza, did your brain go to, that's not how you make porridge? Sorry. If you know, you know. So, yeah, definitely scaling back. Like I said, I'll go through that full, the things that stick in your mind, right? And the Cotties ad. Now my brain is just stuck with all these damn ads. G-O. Anyway. We both went to the same place. My other one that sticks in my head is, I would like a squash. Welcome in, Terry Fur. Good to see you here. I should at some time try and find some of these old ads so that people understand what the heck we're talking about. I think the Go-Go Mobile one was my favourite of all time. No, not the Dart. Sorry, back to Parker. I get triggered when I hear a Scottish accent because it takes me right back to that Aussie ad. I love it. It seems like every time I put on a clip from Calgary, there's a different accent. So there was that guy the other day that was from South Africa. It's like brilliant. He's got to be somewhere. Wait till you see the Caltopo map. So I've got 3 clips. The next one I'll play is they'll say what their name is. I forget already, but it's brilliant.
I am Sergeant Daniela Cervale, and I am the supervisor of the Victim Assistance Support Team, commonly referred to as VAST. Today, we are at the Thorncliffe Greenview Community Center, and we're here to offer support, resources, and information to the residents of Thorncliffe and Greenview, but also to Calgarians as a whole. We've been in a partnership with PAD since 2013. These two are Tetris and Melon. So Melon is 4 years old and Tetris is 3 years old. They're the newest addition to our team. And so their primary responsibility is to provide support for victims who are testifying in court. But there is a whole other array of responsibilities that they have, including school visits, hospital visits, making sure our own internal membership is good, and of course, community outreach, as you see today. This is obviously our community outreach trailer, and we go to community events and we go right into community for traumatic events as well, or any kind of community asks. You'll see sworn members, the accredited facility dogs, and you'll see volunteers who are walking around providing that information, support, and referral to community members.
I've been doing the briefings every single day.
Okay, sorry. I love the idea of that they've got this victim support assistance, like people, and they're set up there. That's really, really good. And the dogs, love the dogs. Yeah, I think we've all got a bit of Irish in us. Definitely a lot of Irish breeding in my family. It's anyway, moving on. This guy is going to show the cow topo maps. You've seen before, I've shown you some of the cow topo stuff from Please Bring Me Home, where basically it's an app. Hikers use it usually. It's a GPS app, and you know, if you're a hiker, you use it because it tracks where you are. But for searches, it's used everywhere now. Pretty much any search that goes on uses cow topo. They usually have a unique login for anyone that's searching. I did have a look, and it seems that they've it's possibly something that is, you know, they give the link to anyone who registers, but it's not publicly available. But I don't think that matters, because what he shows is more than enough. So they've basically had people who are searching using CalTopo, and it's mind-blowing when you see the tracks everywhere.
I can tell you right now, I've had police officers with tearful eyes. We have said, my last point every single day is that there is a family sitting next to a phone waiting for a phone call for us to be able to tell them that we found their son. And that's never wavered. The commitment has been unwavering. I've been this from the very beginning. I can tell you right now, next to his parents and his family, no one else wants to find him more than we do. We've been using a mapping app called CalTopo. With the app, we put that app onto every searcher's phone, whether they've been a civilian ground search and rescue team, or they've been sworn members, peace officers, fire department, canine teams, mounted. Anyone that's been involved has had the app. What that does is, as soon as they start searching, they start it tracks them, and then at the end, they end their tracks. Every single line that you see is an asset. As you can see, this is the community of Thorncliffe. The dot in the middle, that's the last point that Parker was seen on the 16th of July. As you can see, that has been searched intensively. I think Calgary needs to know that we have pulled out every stop and utilised every single resource and strategy that we can to find Parker. If there was more we could do, we would do it. But we have done everything we can so far, and we will continue to do that with the investigation, and we're ready to respond once we get that information. If you can imagine this analogy of a jigsaw puzzle. This is a jigsaw puzzle, and we're looking for the last little pieces to make the full picture. And we know that the public has that. That's why we're asking you to search your properties. No matter how small, even if you're outside the search area, search it. We need to know that you've done it. And do it regularly until Parker's found. I've been doing the briefings every single day. I can tell you right now.
Whoops, I probably didn't edit that so well. Yeah, Canada does sound like Australia, doesn't it? It's like Spot the Native. Welcome in, Jess. Good to see you here. That's the problem, Mike. The urban searching, so many areas, so many spots that he could have gotten into that might not have been searched. You know, lots of empty rentals and stuff like that, or empty houses. And, you know, this is an 11-year-old, a teeny tiny 11-year-old who could get into small gaps really easily. Oh my gosh, Bonza. You should go down to Melbourne. Last time we went down to the gallery in Melbourne, like the state gallery thing, I swear it was like Spot the White Person. I mean, when you look at how many, I mean, obviously it's close to several universities, and you get, I mean, even here in Bendigo, if I get DoorDash, you can guarantee that probably 9 out of 10 times, maybe like, 95% of the time, it's going to be someone from like Pakistan, India, someone who's come here for university. It's it really is a melting pot. Poor Pauline Hanson, if she ever came down to Melbourne, she'd have a nervous breakdown. That's a good question, because we've seen the videos where people have left out food and drink and stuff. There's been no mention, but it's, I don't know, it's disturbing. The only reason up north doesn't seem too bad is because it's populated by British and Americans who moved to Australia for the sunshine, so they moved to the Gold Coast. It's like, seems to be the common thing that if people decide they're moving to Australia, they move to the Gold Coast or Brisbane or somewhere up around there. That's why you see fewer, people that blend in more up there. Yeah, that sounds similar, but we've got a lot of Asians here as well. Definitely a melting pot in terms of population. I hope he's hiding somewhere, and I really hope that he can be found, because this has gone, what is it now? What did they say? It's well over a week. 16th he went missing. That's a really long time. Oh, wow, Jess. They don't hear. Unfortunately, we're not allowed to have pet platypuses, platypi, and they're really hard to spot. But, there's plenty of other pretty cool Australian mammals as well. So, but platypus are definitely the best. That's a big thing. The fact that he will lock doors behind him. If he's gone in somewhere and someone hasn't realised, you'd hope that by now the message has got through with, thousands of people out searching for him. But also you could have people who aren't there the whole time. Their places could be locked up and he could have got in. He could be anywhere. He really could be. Yep, I know what you mean. Oh, damn! I didn't get a chance to look at the koala video. I don't seem to be managing my time so well at the moment. Did my live stream last night, then got everything ready for this morning, and then just kind of crashed out. So I will have to find that koala video and I'll have to play it tomorrow. There's a part of me that is so tempted to play my new song, but I probably shouldn't. I think I'll save that for a members only live stream. So let's move on to Daniel. So just to set the mood.
I'm a math man, yeah, I count cans, live in a trailer with rusted pants. Mom's dog's bald, it's got no flair, lost all its hair, and it don't care. Pink blankets, lies I've told again, footprints vanish like phantom friends. I'm Superman, Daniel, faster than wind, stronger than a chopper with a rotor spin. I rake my driveway for Mom shakes her fist. Super Daniel, yeah, I can't be missed.
I like this one better, I think.
Not allowed on Mama's ATV. She says I drive it recklessly. X wrote her name on my mirror in red. Now I'm searching cool, it's like I lost my head. Dirt roads, rivers, waist high deep. Virginia slims, I puff and leap. I'm Superman, Daniel, faster than wind, stronger than a chopper when the rotors spin. I rake my driveway for Mom shakes her fist. Super Daniel, yeah, I can't be missed. No, out on Mama's ATV. She says I drive it recklessly. X wrote her name on my mirror in red. Now I'm searching covers like I lost my head. Dirt roads, rivers, waist high deep. Virginia slims, I puff and leap. I'm Superman, Daniel, arrogant and bold, strutting pop lines in the cold. Work one day a week at the sawmill grind. Super Daniel, yeah, on my time. I'm Superman, Daniel, arrogant and bold, strutting pop lines in the cold. Work one day a week at the sawmill grind. Super Daniel, yeah, on my time.
Even with me running through the woods over the head of the helicopters and head of the drones and stuff like that.
That's a good one.
Okay, I'll bring this back up on stage.
In the afternoon, that was...
Bonza, I think I would probably have to check with one of the individuals who stops me from doing dumbass things first before I just played it in a public live stream, just to make sure that I'm not making the wrong choice by playing it in a public live stream. I will have to send it to you for sure. I haven't actually, the other reason I'm kind of not ready to play it is that I haven't actually done any clip for it. It's just kind of got one graphic on it at the moment. But I'm probably going to play around with that today, make a clip for it, maybe share it with members first, and then decide if I want to make it a public one. Anyway, I won't keep going on about that because it's a bit cruel to tease people with it. I also want to redo my, I did a song for Tucker, but I don't like it, so I want to redo that. So there will be some new songs coming very soon. This one, maybe a while, I'm not sure. I'll get back to you on that one. Okay, so, oh, nuts, hang on. Before idiot me, I just, oh, right, sorry. That was me having technical problems behind the scene. I had set my iPad up as a second screen, and I was trying to figure out how to get back to using the actual iPad as opposed to having it as a second screen. And I just discovered it's way more easy than I realised. Okay, so let's get back to Daniel. Still gaslighting Malaya and Cindy. I ran it back just a little bit. Yeah, the squirrels are totally running free this morning. I think I just kind of tried to do too many things before the live stream. Now I'm chasing my tail, and my brain's just not catching up at all. That'll happen. Okay, so let's have a look at some more of this Daniel audio. I've run it back, so I probably don't need to backtrack.
Yeah, because the one in the afternoon, that was, I never really talked about that, but that's when we stopped in at Acropole, and we got food, right?
Yeah.
And when I was getting out of the car, because, you know, we made the call, we ordered the food, and when it was ready, we just, I walk in and pick it up and pay for it. So, but she called the exact time that I was getting out of the car to walk inside to get the food. And that's when that's the call in the afternoon that, you know, Cindy and Malaya had. I wasn't around for that call. That's when I walked inside to get the food. But I didn't know she made a call that night. I didn't even know she made a call at 8:28 on Friday morning. I didn't know that until I seen the documents.
So just because a lot of people keep saying
Day 12. Thank you for that. I was thinking day 11. I know. It's so heartbreaking. It's just the wondering where he is, and if he's not somewhere where he's got access to water. Yeah, she called it home. And I don't know why he's trying to suddenly push this whole thing of that she called from the car. Unless there's a few things I've noticed where a narrative has been put out by other people trying to redirect the narrative. And I don't know if Daniel has thought that maybe they found out something factual, so now he has to tell that story as well, so that it sounds like he's in the know. Because it's like him with that flicking the light on at midnight. Who was it pointed out to me? I think Chaucer pointed out to me that they're flicking the light on at midnight would fit in with the whole Janie raking the driveway and Janie thinking that someone drove past at night and saw her raking the driveway. So I think Daniel thought that when someone drove past and saw Janie raking the driveway, that they might have seen a light on in the kids' room or something like that. And I think this is another example of that, because I think someone else was throwing around this idea of Malaya making the call from the car. And then Daniel's just adopted it. But the phone call was made around 4 p.m. They got home it was about 3:15 or something they got home. I can't remember. I haven't got the documents in front of me. And the phone call was definitely made after they got home. So I don't know why this story is suddenly the new thing, but it's BS essentially.
For instance, and I kind of feel like it jumps around as well, is the Thursday. It's kind of like, you know, a Google Map shows you get home at like about 3:11 or 3:12 or something.
Around 3:50. It was just right before 4 o'clock.
Well, Google Map shows it as 3:12. The ones that Malaya had sent from her.
No.
And they would be the accurate ones. Welcome in, Charlotte. We've just been talking about Parker again. worrying and wishing that someone could find him. Yeah, it does too, doesn't it? The flicking the light definitely checks with Brad's talk of cars. I've got so many questions about cars. I think it would be good to do a members live stream where we're just kind of similar to the last one, where we're just looking at some of these things and nutting it out together. Oh, exactly. It's BS. He knows exactly what calls were made there when. I think, although the 8:31, I suspect that Malaya had to have gone. Either Malaya was out of the bedroom, or Daniel was off doing something. Because I do think that took him by surprise. And it's an odd one. The timing of it is very odd. But yeah, I don't know why Daniel is pushing this, because it is clear in the documents it was not 350.
Okay.
Now, and then just to go, now you had said on an interview, like the guy with the dog, right? I mean, the constable or whatever, sergeant guy, whatever, with the dog, that you said that, well, Daniel, like, basically, we just don't believe you. Like, you're.
Yeah, that was Luke.
Here we go. Well, not 2 adults, 3 adults. Question is, how can 3 adults lose 2 children? Because according to Janie, she heard them. She never saw them, but she heard them. Yeah. Didn't have a password for the school stuff. Malaya does all the school stuff, but he got the email or the notification on his phone. Like, I would imagine that would be something that he'd have to have control over quite a bit. Wouldn't surprise me in the least if he was the one that put the notification in. Although I guess they can check their phones to know exactly who did. But yeah, no, 3 people on the property with 3 children, and they lose 2 of the children. It's not good math.
That guy,
You're missing.
I can say that guy was a little bit strange, because on like the second day the dogs were out, I walked outside. There was investigators there and the dog handlers. This is gonna be embarrassing for Luke, but yeah, I walked outside. I didn't have a shirt on, and then I was like, all right. They said to investigators, like, I'm gonna go put a shirt on. He's like, all right.
This story is BS. And I'm going to see, I have a sneaking suspicion that I may not have actually sent this to my iPad, which is a pain in the ass. I've got it. Okay, so we're going to go off at a bit of a tangent. Thanks to Mike. Okay, I have to pause. So the other day in one of my live streams, Mike was telling me that I was talking about it might not have even been a live stream. It could have been one of my videos. Mike MX was telling me that actually the footage from CBS, the drone footage, wasn't the earliest footage of the property. And he sent me to this one little channel which I hadn't been aware of. And this is drone footage from the 8th of May. So this is from a few days, no, this is from the day after they called off the search. This is the earliest drone footage that we have of the property, and this is from the 8th. So I've basically put all the images together because there's a few really interesting things here. And this ties in with Daniel's story about heading outside and seeing the dog guy when he's outside not wearing a shirt, like when Daniel's not wearing a shirt. Okay, so this is I can make this big, I think, if I do that. Okay, put a 1 if you've still got audio. I think I'm still up on stage, presumably. So this is just showing the vehicles. Really like to know who owns the black truck. Oh, cool, have still got audio. I'm really curious about who owns the black truck. We did a bit of comparison a month or so back with the truck at the Getty's house down the road, and it's not the same truck. This one is a GMC. It's not Ron's truck, but that's all we can narrow it down to at this point in time. I think it was a GMC from memory. Okay, next one. This gives a really, really clear view of the oil spill that I mentioned. I spoke about this in a video ages and ages ago. Next to that old broken down car, it could be Earl. I don't know what Earl drives, and I haven't been able to figure that out. Next to that old broken down car, there used to be another car parked there. And it would have to have been quite recently, because over time, that oil spill would have been covered over with like dirt coming down off the bank, and just because of the location, it would have gradually got covered with more dirt. So that is a fresh oil spill from a car that leaks a heck of a lot of oil. So my question is, where's that car? Because that car was on the property up until quite recently in terms of 2nd of May. And look where the vegetation is as well. Yeah. There was definitely a car there. And it was there extremely recently. There's no vegetation there. Good point. There's no... It's dark. It's dark, which means that there was a car that was there for a long period of time. That is a spot where the car usually parks, and it hasn't had time to, you know, soak in or get covered with dirt or anything like that. We had a lengthy conversation about that pink thing near the oil stain. I think a lot of people decided that it might have been a snowsuit. I don't think I zoomed in on it. Yeah, the fresh tracks too. You can see right next to it. That to me says that, you know, this BS about Daniel's car that was at Earl's, I really believe that car was put at Earl's straight after the children, well, straight after the running around. Could be maybe someone has changed the oil, but I don't think so. I don't think, even though it has been shallowed out, I don't think you would manage to jack up a car and change the oil in that spot very successfully, because it wouldn't be level enough. But then again, you know, Daniel's dumb enough to jack up a car when it's not level. he probably wouldn't worry about if that car was going to come off the jack and land on him. So it could well be that someone's changed the oil there. But it looks long term. I would imagine, yeah, I wouldn't put it past him. I really wouldn't put it past him to change the oil and just let it run on the ground. Although I think when you look at the slope, I would think it would run further before it's soaked in. Oil doesn't just soak in straight away, especially not old oil. When you look at how thick oil gets when it's getting old, I think you would have a lot more run from that oil rather than just a neat puddle. Could be wrong, but I would need to know from Belinda or Chaucer how steep that area is. If it's like really level or if it's on a bit of a gradient. Anyway, more pictures. Thank you, Dawn. And I probably should welcome in all the people that have come in that I haven't welcomed, sorry. Okay. Next one somewhere. Okay, this is taking a bit. I don't know. Okay. Now, I remember this image being discussed because if you look towards the end of the driveway next to the bins, someone's been filling in potholes in the driveway. Quite clearly, someone's been filling in potholes. It's interesting because Janie told Belinda that the Thursday night she was filling in potholes. And what makes it really interesting is that there doesn't appear to be any indication of anyone raking gravel in the area where Janie claims she was raking gravel for a pool. They probably don't. They probably don't know that sump oil is good for painting fences. Could have saved them a lot of money. Between the truck and the car at the bottom left. Near the wheel. I should actually be wearing my glasses while I'm looking at this. It would probably make it so much easier. Oh, hell yeah. Good point. That really is the perfect spot to... Oh, okay, hang on. I'll take the comments off stage for now. Or is it the Ninchi thing that's covering it? Hang on. When I'm looking at it from here, the bottom of my screen gets a play bar that covers the just the almost up to the Ninchi part where it says Ninchi True Crime. So I don't get to see a lot of the stuff at the bottom of the very bottom of the screen. I really don't know. One of those things in the truck looks like a box of some sort. I know. It's a joke, Janie raking for a pool. Right here, we have someone's been raking potholes right at the end of the driveway. And, geez, that sounds familiar. Sounds really familiar. Where's the evidence of raking for a pool? Because that gravel up the end where she claims she was raking is packed in. There's nothing to rake. Go figure. So, yeah, it seems to be a box of some sort in the back of that, on the tray of that ute truck. I keep wanting to call it a ute because that's what we would call it. But there's empty bags or possibly one full bag of cement. I'm not sure. Bags of gravel could be. I would really like to know whose truck it is. Anyway, moving on a little bit more. Okay, sorry. I tried to get a better shot of what was on the back of that ute, but it kind of still doesn't give us any. Yes, I've got that somewhere. I've got a few things in my Google Drive that I need to pull out. I think maybe I need to do one live stream where we just look at all the different cars and try and figure something out there. But I've definitely got that advertisement, I'm pretty certain. I know I've got the advertisement for Daniel's car that he sold. Are you the only one who sees a person in the middle right on the side cut off by the pole? It could well be because, yeah, like I said, I'm not wearing my glasses, so you guys can probably see it better than I can. One of the images that's coming up does have some people there, so it could well be that person. Is it someone in like red? Someone wearing red? Because we do see someone next to the black car in a minute wearing red. Yeah. Actually, this angle shows us all the potholes that were filled. Someone was filling a pothole right down near the road as well. Someone was very busy filling potholes. Blue jacket male. Sort of down in the ditch area, or yeah, it could be a person or it could be. Okay. Time to put the glasses on, I think. I'm not sure how this is going to go with my big chunky headphones. Okay. If you follow the wire down from the pole, from the power pole towards the little stump that the wire is attached to, you can see something sort of down the hill a bit. I don't know. I think these glasses make it worse because they're really need to get myself a pair of glasses that are not bifocal kind of ones, because otherwise I'm like looking at the wrong part of my glasses onto the computer screen. It doesn't work. It could be a person, it could be something that's blown onto the ground there. I'm not sure. Anyway, let's go to the next one. Okay, I think this was just, these are just all the ones that this other channel had shared, and I should be sharing the name of the channel, I forgot. But this is just another aerial view. And there's a black car by the road. We'll see that again. It seems to be like a little black, maybe it could even be a Kia. Maybe it's Ron's wife's car. Now, this was the 8th, but there is still something under the windscreen wiper of Janie's car, which is really curious. Unless it's like a defect notice or something like that. I don't know. So much crap lying around. When you look down on it like that, there is just so much crap. Like, you know, a completely dead, rusted out wheel that looks like it's been there forever. Just, yeah. Anyway, move on from this one. Eventually. Yeah, the ATV parked in front of the car again to make it look like no one drives there. Which would be all very well, except that you can see the tyre trucks in the driveway. So parking an ATV to try and convince people that no one drives there doesn't really work when people can see that people have driven there. You know what would be interesting? To see if we can see if that the stone can, is there. Bonzer, is this what you were talking about with the little kids, what do you call it, the little pulley thing, the little kids cart or something? I'm not sure if that is what was in the box that we looked at the other day. I hadn't noticed it before, but then when I looked at other photos, it has been there. Coffee and Crime, I think it could have been Coffee and Crime. Smaller channel, British channel. I wasn't familiar with it, but yeah. Now, I really wish that this was better quality because there is something in a bin next to the gravel. And I would like to know what is in that bin next to the gravel. But there you have, you know, gravel for filling in potholes, gravel for concreting, not for raking the driveway for a pool. That's a at the front of the ATV, that's the sawhorse that was set up. Janie was talking about that in her interview. Oops, just hit the microphone. Janie was talking about there being a sawhorse or something, and she said she was sitting there, and I think Belinda mentioned it as well. So I find it interesting you've got those 3 bits of wood lined up. I'm just wondering why that is. Yeah, very wet ground there. Okay, still haven't got to the Daniel without a top. Okay, a different view. And I probably should have zoomed in on this. Where the bench has been disturbed. Ground on the bottom of the picture, but not on the side. Yeah. Hang on, let me go back a sec. Oh, yeah. Around the... You're right about that. There's been... That's a low spot in the driveway, and you can see the wet. But in the middle of it all, that's fresh. It's been scraped out. You're spot on. Good catch. I mean, if it was a car that was parked over it, it would be a bigger patch. And you wouldn't have it looking like someone's scraped out a section in the middle of a wet patch. Because you can see the wet patch is pretty much circular, meaning that that bit in the middle should also be wet. Welcome in, what's up? Good to see you. Yeah, it's so much a driveway that you can see tyre tracks on the other side. Let's go and look at that again. So you can see the tyre tracks going pretty much all the way up to, not from this angle, but most of the other images you look at, you can see the tyre tracks go pretty much right up to Janie's fence. Yeah, we're planning the pool. Seriously. You can see swings. If you look here, you can see that there were swings there. And the wood pile was not under the swings, it was in front of the house. So this is the earliest aerial footage of the property that we've got. And we can see the swings really clearly. Welcome in, Sher. Whether or not they were actually usable. But yeah, we've got proof here that cars do go all the way up to Janie's fence. We've got proof that someone was filling in potholes. Still no evidence here of anyone raking to put in a pool. In fact, I've not seen any evidence of a rake. But yeah, we've got the swings there as well. Thank you for the Jules. What's up? Very much appreciated. Okay. Let's see if we can do a bit of a where's Wally? Oh no, we're not there yet. Now, this is something I've spoken about before. The back of the shed, and it does zoom in, but I'm going to point it out first. The back of the shed has a tarp up against it, and it seems to have like a pipe or something coming up the back. And this is gone in later photos. I'll keep moving on because I know there is a closer version of it. Okay, see, no rake. We have a shovel, but we have no rake. I'd like to know why there's a ladder behind Janie's. I'm not sure if it's a blue tarp. I think that thing behind Janie's RV is like a barrel. Could be wrong. The blue tarp on the building behind, yeah. Exactly. You're not going to. Oh, thank you. Very generous, Fred. Congratulations to the people that got the memberships. There's no way you're going to carry your groceries all the way up that driveway if you can drive right up to the fence. And there's other images that I've got where basically you can see tyre tracks all the way up to the fence. But I am curious about the ladder behind Janie's RV. It's like, was someone putting things under that black tarp or whatever it is? The other curious thing here is that there's a photo of the RV with the door open, no dog in the window, just wondering where the dog was. Okay, some of these are kind of a bit repetitive, so I'll just keep going with that. If you kind of squint, you can see there are definitely time marks that go at least up to the end of the trailer there. Just saying. Okay, getting there. We've seen some of these ones before. I think some of these I must have got from somewhere because there's a lot. Okay. Little black wagon or something parked on the road. This is this was released on the 8th, which to me says that vehicles that are around here at this particular time are most likely all Daniel's family. So what is the little black car out on the road? And who owns that little black car out on the road? Because that could actually fit in with Brad Wong's description. But it's interesting because Daniel says that he never owned a black car and no one in his family owns a black car. So whose black car is that and what is that? Because I'd like to know. I'd really like to know. I wish there was a better cool. Looking at the names. Amy, Zoot, Wee, Patriot, Neela, and Unlock. Congratulations on the memberships for those people. Okay. And I'm just going to comment, there's a major lag at the moment with comments. So people's comments are coming up like really slowly for me. Coming up in StreamYard, there's quite a delay. So I just want to, if you're wondering why I seem to be not quite in sync with what's going on. Okay, must be this other image somewhere. Okay, here's a better view of the tarp set up behind that shed. And there's like a white pipe or something coming out of the tarp. I'm not sure what sort of car Earl has. He had Daniel's car at his property. Actually, I do have some aerial shots of his property, but I'll have to try and bring them up another time because I think if I tried to get into my Google Drive, I might lose StreamYard, quite likely. I cannot figure out what that thing is with the blue tarp and the pipe coming out. It's very, very curious. Seems we're all lagging. Makes it tricky when you're trying to look at photos. And welcome in, Corbin. Good to see you here. It makes it really tricky when you're lagging and people's comments come up after you've kind of moved on from what you're talking about. Okay, still moving on. Seen that. Piece of roof guttering. It could be a piece of roof guttering. That makes sense. Could well be. At the very least, this is a really good view of Janie's fence. But what is significant about this photo is that if you make a straight line from the open part of Janie's fence or even from the steps on the deck across to the driveway, you can see a spot where it looks like they did do a cast of a boot print in the driveway. But you can also, from this angle now, see very, very clearly that cars definitely did go up to Janie's fence. Yeah, that mattress is creepy. The zoomed in versions of it make it look like it's been there outside for a very long time. That building could well be part of it, could well be part of the chook coop, the chicken coop. But I still can't figure out why you'd have that blue tarp on the back with a pipe coming out. I can't see. I might have to compare this with other photos later on. But I can't see the can that was on the edge of the driveway. I can see a pile of rocks, which is possibly about the location where the can was. But I can't see. No, there's no guttering on the trailers or the RV. Is that normal? Because, I mean, here in Australia, you get quite a bit of overhang and guttering. That's yeah, I actually hadn't picked up on that. Okay. They wouldn't twist that way. You have gutters on your house. Yeah, it looks more like a pipe to me, just because of the colouring as well, but I could be wrong. Just to zoom in on Janie's RV. And there's definitely something under that black plastic. You can see the lumps really clearly there. Okay, I spy. Because I don't see a dog. I see the door open to the RV. And you can see clearly into those front windows. But there's no dog. I would think if you were going to live in something like that RV that you'd want to put like a, just like a roof up over the top. Just, whack up a couple of poles, frame it, and then, cover it over that way. That bank looks like it could just crumble really easily. I think all that was originally, that wasn't dug out. Where Janie's RV and where her yard was part of the bank. And then clearly it's been levelled out for her RV. But it seems like they've dug it out without compacting the bank afterwards. Or without grading the bank afterwards. It's just like they've just cut it out and left it. And it could be a disaster for kids climbing all over that bank. Honestly, the hazards around this property. Yeah, well, it is quite likely because remember Belinda said that when she went there on the 17th, Daniel said Janie was inside the trailer. So it's quite possible. The question is raked. As in the the level, the spot where it's just like a different color near the rake. Yeah, I think she must have moved back into the trailer. Because, yeah, I mean, she was in the trailer when Belinda went there on the 17th. And there's certainly no sign of a dog there. All around the front of the RV there looks like someone's been raking there, like leveling it. But the stovepipe is up there. So when did it get removed? Because later photos, it doesn't have that upright bit. Yeah, the old photos of the property show that from the woodshed across was all cut out and levelled. Oh, that would make sense. That would make a lot of sense. It was back there later on. And Daniel made some comment of, or someone made some comment of, oh, well, it got pulled out because it wasn't needed there over summer. But why would you break the world on something like that and remove it just for summer and then put it back in? But yeah, RCMP could have taken it for soot analysis. That is a good point. That hadn't occurred to me. You don't see the pipe from the wood stove in the RV either. Yeah. Could have been, yeah, that could have been taken for analysis. I hadn't thought of that. Okay. That's just a zoomed out version of it. With all the junk out the back. No, I can't see her wanting to spend another winter in that RV if there's like 2 empty rooms in the trailer. It's not. It really isn't. It's not like it's something that's screwed in. It's welded on. So why would you? You'd have to break the weld, which is usually the strongest part with crappy old stuff like that. And then, of course, you'd have to weld it back on afterwards. Trailer has chimney on driveway side. I'll have to look for that in a moment. Oh, the window wasn't boarded. Hang on, let me run it back just a sec. I don't think the window was boarded at that point. Doesn't appear to be. Could be wrong. Hard to tell from that angle, really. But again, you can see tire marks right up that driveway. And that gives you a clearer view of the entire property. Okay, move on to the... Have I missed the bit with them out the front? Must be there somewhere. Oh, I see. There is a... Oh, hang on. There's some sort of pipe coming up next to Jack and Lily's room. I'm not sure what all the different bits are that are coming up. No, you're not. Just a few weeks ago, there was an incident. I shouldn't say incident. There was a whole household full of people somewhere in South Australia that died from carbon monoxide poisoning from burning barbecue bricks in their house to keep warm. And a wood stove in an RV, again, that's got to be a hazard. Like, she's lucky that damn thing didn't go up in flames. Yeah, supposedly the boarded window is the reason she didn't see the kids. Oh, okay. Yeah, in a trailer I can see that, but in that RV, I think in a trailer you'd want it, you'd freeze. Oh yeah, that makes sense. It'd be damn cold there, that's for sure. Yeah, the RV probably would have got really hot in winter. I hadn't thought about that. Yeah, that red thing could be what ended up in the skip. Just near the old gas tank. It could be like an old slide or something. I'll have to have a look at other photos later and see if I can figure out what that is. Okay, moving on. Have I missed the part where Daniel was in the driveway without a top? Surely I haven't. I may well have done. I appear to have done so. Let me run it back and see if I can. Could be a baby swing. Okay, Bonza, you saw it too, didn't you? The image of Daniel standing in the driveway near the four-wheeler without a top on, and there was someone else in a top next to Janie's car. And I don't seem to have it in this. Oh, here it is. I went straight past. How did I go straight past? So in front of the black. Was he flagging down the drones with his shirt? Quite possibly. So apparently Daniel likes to strut around outside without his shirt. Yeah. Empty bags of concrete by the looks of it. Yep. So I don't know if that's Justin or Ron or someone in the red top. Yeah, the stovepipe was there in the early ones. Oh yeah, it could be Earl in the Flanny, which would mean that probably is Earl's vehicle, possibly. But Yeah, that's definitely Daniel parading around without a top on. I missed it because it was that's where the bar is at the bottom of my screen, so it was covered over. Either that or I scrolled straight past. But anyway, that was the main reason for bringing up these images. But I also wanted to show that someone was filling in potholes in the driveway, and that it does appear that there were swings at least around the 8th of May, which is the earliest footage that we seem to have. Yeah, the gully's interesting. Yeah, Daniel Geddes said he didn't even know about the kids at the time. Other times, the way he talks, it sounds like he knew from the very beginning. You've got to wonder about these people, haven't you? Okay, so let's go back to Daniel talking about being in front of the dog guy without wearing a shirt. And I can't help wondering if he's just tweaking out, thinking of this experience. Camilla says that's Durwood. Well, that could well be Durwood. That would be very interesting. Need to put comments back up on stage. Not that I can see Camilla, even when the comments are up on stage. That would be interesting if that was Durwood. Because I'd still like to know who that black truck belongs to. Curious. Definitely need to do some comparisons. You know what I want to do? I'm going to see if I can find Janie's interview in here. Okay.
The reason why
I'm just going to scroll through this and see if we've got a view of what vehicles were in the driveway when they... Oh, I don't know if this is the full... Oh, yeah. No, this is not the full interview. Okay. Get rid of that. Try again. Oh. What? I know. They've got that green bin and they've got garbage everywhere. Okay, I'm going to try again and see if I can find Janie's interview. Not just an excerpt from it. Because I want to see what cars were in the driveway, because we know Durwood was there that day. But I keep finding clips, but if it's in here, it's got to be like way, way down the bottom somewhere. Oh, no, I can't find it. I'll try it another time. Aha, so Camilla has seen other pictures at ground level and Durwood is there and he has a black truck. See, that's the thing. We know Durwood's got a black truck. So it certainly could well be Durwood's truck. I'm going to have to go back through all the images I've got and see what I can find. But I'll pull that off for now. They could have made a really nice place, a really nice yard for the children. It's sad. It's really disappointing. Okay, so...
It's like you don't want people taking pictures.
I'll run it back and we'll listen to Daniel now talking about walking around in front of the dog guy without a top.
The ones that Malaya had sent from her.
Okay.
Now, and then just to go now, you had said on an interview, like the guy with the dog, right, with a constable or whatever, sergeant guy, whatever, with the dog, that you said that, well, Daniel, like, basically we just don't believe you, like
Yeah, that was Luke. That guy.
you're missing.
I can say that guy was a little bit strange. Because on like the second day the dogs were out, I walked outside. There was investigators there and the dog handlers. This is gonna be embarrassing for Luke, but yeah, I walked outside. I didn't have a shirt on, and then I was like, "All right." They said to investigators, "Like, I'm gonna go put a shirt on." He's like, "All right." Yeah, he's just like, "You don't want people taking pictures of you from the road."
Why exactly would it be embarrassing for Luke? He's not going to give a toss. It's just Daniel trying to tell a story and make it sound more interesting. And I honestly think this story is based on him being caught on drone footage, walking around without a shirt.
And so I ran inside and got my shirt on, and that Luke guy's just, "Oh, don't worry about it. You look good." And I was just like, that guy said some real strange things. It wasn't just the comments that he made about Thursday night. He was just a strange dude in general.
So after the first time he came out and he complained about the dog guy saying your Thursday night doesn't have enough detail and stuff like that, clearly he realizes that people have turned around and said, yeah, the guy has called you out because you're basically lying and your Thursday night doesn't have enough detail. So now he's got to find a new way to gaslight this guy. He's coming up with complete utter BS just to try and discredit the dog handler and make him sound like he's some sort of, oh, the guy's a freak. That's why he made that comment to me. Classic gaslighting. I know, who walks outside without a shirt and then goes, oh, I'm going to go put on a shirt now. It's ridiculous. Can we just point out too, actually, I think he says it was day 2. But seriously, he knew the dogs would probably be coming back. Surely he knew they would probably be coming back. I doubt very much that he was out there without a shirt, or if he was, it was intentional. But exactly, who gaslights a complete utter stranger? Daniel does. Good to see you in here, Chelsea. I have a question about in the driveway where that old car was. That actually, I can bring up a picture just quickly. We're just going through these, and I might need to pull that off. There is. I'll just go back to it. We're just looking at the spot in the driveway where you can see the oil stain. And my question is, because obviously there was a car parked there and there's oil that's gone down into the soil there. My question is, was that like really level there, or was it on a bit of a gradient, if you can remember? Because I was saying it looked like a car had just been sitting there for a while and leaking. And other people said, well, it's possible that maybe Daniel was doing an oil change and just let the oil go into the ground. But I would imagine if you're doing an oil change, the oil's going to be pretty thick, meaning it's not going to soak in straight away. And I would expect if the ground's not level that it's going to go further. It's going to kind of run down, not just all soak into one spot. So I was curious about how level that spot was. Because to me it looks like there's a bit of a gradient there. But I could be wrong. Anyway. Okie dokie.
a lot of strange things. Like he even said to me, sorry for going off track here, but he even said to me, he's just like, did you ever get like so angry with the kids you would have like outbursts, like aggressively outbursts? And I said, no. He's just like, with my 16-year-old son, he's just like, if he doesn't put the dishes away, he's just like, I yell and scream at him, and he's just like, he's like, I get so mad at him and I tear him down and I call him the worst.
Bullshit. Sorry, that just came out. You believe it was pretty flat in that spot. I might have to look at other images and see. So it's possible, I guess, that Daniel's just done an oil change and let it soak into the ground. Either that or there's been a car there long term that's only recently been removed before that image that was leaking a heck of a lot of oil. Why would a professional dog handler come out with a comment like that about his 16-year-old? Especially when you consider that in terms of this program with the human remains detection dogs, this is new. They've only had this in place since 2016. So for someone to actually apply and actually get into that program, you would have to be the cream of the cream. There's no way known an RCMP officer is going to say that. Honestly, the guy's a tool. He really is. And I'm not sure if I actually said welcome in, Chelsea. Sorry. I think the squirrels are all over the place today. Tear down to the lowest is Nova Scotia talk. Yep. They were from, I can't think. I know one of them was probably British Columbia. I don't know, can't remember the other province. Look, I suspect that he probably, welcome in, Alana. Now, I suspect that there was probably some question. The other dog was from Alberta. Thank you for that. I was kind of leaning in that direction, but I wasn't sure. So I think it was British Columbia and Alberta. Cool. I could believe that he had maybe asked Daniel if he'd ever lost his temper with the children. But see, in other retellings, Daniel has said this, I think, about earlier interviews. But I did get the distinct impression, and did I actually say welcome in, Kim? Sorry. I think I need to rein those squirrels in a bit. They would definitely be wearing body cam, because if the dog alerted to something, then that's something that could be shared in court, showing the dog alerting. It just kind of adds additional evidence. So Daniel can come up with all these BS stories, but you could guarantee, especially if, from listening to the way Daniel talks, it sounds like when these guys were briefed before they went to the property, that part of the briefing was, you guys can play bad cop. Because at this point in time, Daniel still thought the RCMP were his best friends. So I believe that it is possible that the handlers were kind of given that role to try and maintain the relationship between Daniel and RCMP for a bit longer. Yeah. I don't think he would have said the crap about his son, but I do think that the local major crimes had been working to build that false rapport with Daniel, and they were trying to keep that for a bit longer. So bringing in dog handlers from outside was an opportunity to brief them beforehand and say, okay, you play bad cop. But I really don't think it went down the way that Daniel's saying. I could believe him maybe saying, did you ever just lose your temper with the kids? I could believe him asking about the wood stove. I could believe him saying your timeline doesn't add up. But again, going back to become one of these handlers, to actually get that job of being a dog handler especially with a really new program, you have to be the cream of the crop. I mean, it's possible that he could have said that stuff, but not in the way Daniel's saying it. I mean, you do hear officers do that. I just think that Daniel's overplaying it, and he's trying to gaslight. He's pulling everything out that he can to try and gaslight these dog handlers. That's the thing. He makes up so much crap. And he came out hard at the beginning trying to discredit the dog handlers. The other thing is too, given that he was coming out hard trying to discredit the dog handlers, I would expect that we would have heard this comment earlier when he did there's been a few other times where he's done interviews or panel discussions or something, and all he came out with was the dog handler saying, we don't think your timeline matches up. There's not enough detail. So anytime Daniel starts adding new stuff into his narrative, I question it. Yeah. Yeah, even Jane admits it. Most people seem to recognise that Daniel's not good at telling the truth. Except for Daniel, of course. Oh, yeah. They do. Daniel over-exaggerates things. And the fact that he's only pulling this out of his ass right now, to me, says he's making it up on the spot because too many people stood up for the dog handlers when he first came out crying about them, saying your timeline doesn't match up. So now I think he's going out of his way to really gaslight and try and make them look worse.
And I was just like saying to myself in my head, I was just like, this RCMP officer has worked for, RCMP for 26 years. That's what he told me. 26 years. And I was like, he's literally making up a story, or it could be true, about him emotionally abusing his child right in front of me.
Right.
And it was very odd, just the way he conducted himself,
So, I mean, obviously he was trying to, kind of associate whether it was a made up story or not. He's trying to dig for information, with you, obviously, about it.
Yeah, he tried to get me.
So it's got to be either one or two things. Either he was trying to get a response out of Daniel, or Daniel made it up. But to me, when Daniel introduces new things to the narrative so far on, you've got to question it. I would love to do something like that, actually. There's a few really interesting ones. I mean, I did do... When I get to Jen Soto's her immunity one, that's a doozy. But I might look for some other ones. Paula's got a lot of stuff in her Patreon. I might look for some other ones and just do a video of one of those, because they are quite amusing. That's what he's trying to do. He's trying to give the impression this dog handler clearly came down on him. The dog handler clearly came in with, he was clearly briefed beforehand in terms of to see what he could get out of Daniel. Classic situation with, you don't have to deal with him again, so you can play bad cop. We're going to let you off the leash, pun intended, see what you can get from Daniel. But I also think that there's a lot of exaggeration going here with Daniel, because his goal here is to discredit the police officer. Given that his goal is to, the dog handler, given that his goal is to discredit the dog handler, to me that says we have to proceed with caution and be very careful in terms of what we believe if it's not information that we heard straight after they'd been there. So new information when someone is trying to discredit someone, got to question it.
To falsely admit to murdering the kids. And I told investigators that, and they said, Daniel, like, I'm so sorry you had to go through that, because that was never audio recorded. That was never body cammed. That was just him having a private conversation with me where he tried.
See, that's utter bullshit. Like, seriously. He goes running to the RCMP and they're like, oh, we're so sorry. He thinks that it's not going to come out in the wash. He thinks that these lies are never going to be noticed. But they are. But we know this conversation never, ever happened. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Someone needs to tell the truth. It's gone on too long. Oh, definitely the good cop, bad cop. But I don't think they're going to cross the line like that in the way Daniel's saying it. They're not, when they're doing good cop, bad cop, they never like apologize like, oh, they shouldn't have done that. This is Daniel wishful thinking. This is a little fantasy in Daniel's head. He's said this a few times now with this. I'm so sorry you had to go through that. I would never expect to hear that from a major crimes unit detective. Maybe they would have, done a slightly less. I'm trying to find the words for this. See, this is why we end up with me using terminology like lizard lips and Soto sigh. because I try to describe something and my brain short circuits and I spit out dumb stuff like lizard lips and Soto sigh, and then suddenly everyone's using it and thinking it's like real terminology. Yes, yeah. The difference here is what Daniel is putting down is beyond what I would expect to hear from a cop who is trying to get stuff out of him. Yeah, exactly. This just comes across to me as a major over-exaggeration. They're not going to apologize to him. Not in the way he's saying. And if they're trying to get a response out of him to normalize the losing your shiz with a kid because they kick you off, they're not going to go as deep as what he did. Sorry, just got distracted again. It's not very often when the helicopter flies over that low. Just try and get the squirrels back in and try and reconnect the brain cells. Yeah, true crime slang terminologies. The squirrels are just all over today. They were fine, but how to stop an ADHD person in their track is to have a helicopter fly over their house really low, and suddenly that's the main focus. Okay, I am going to keep playing because I'm not explaining myself very well right now.
Tried to get me to confess a false confession to murdering the kids, and that was one of the most unprofessional things I've ever seen law enforcement ever do to me. But interrogations should always be professional, and they should be on camera or audio recorded. They should never be done the way it was done.
Seriously, Daniel, you're worrying about them trying to make you do a false confession for murdering the kids. If you had nothing to worry about, you'd just be laughing it off. He's clearly had not a lot of experience with them beforehand. He's clearly not familiar with interrogation tactics, interview tactics. Because clearly this cop was doing the bad cop routine, and Daniel sees it as some great affront, like, how dare he make these? Yep, I think you are right that the squirrels are on trampolines today. The squirrels are completely off the show. Oh, holy. My takeaway from all this is that this particular officer did go in to play bad cop. I believe Daniel is over-exaggerating all of this. But in terms of, he tried to make me falsely confess to murdering the kids. Why would you be concerned about that, Daniel? Because if you weren't responsible for the death of the children, then it's not like you're actually going to blurt something out like that. And that's the thing these days. In terms of entrapment, they're a lot more careful. I'm glad you brought that up because it's just helping me to kind of reel in the squirrels a bit. The thing is, like Rob McCammon said, they're trying to do everything to judicial standards. I love it when someone just gives me something that helps me to focus again. That they need to do everything to judicial standards. So while they can lie to Daniel, while they can come at him with this sort of thing, if it's too over the top, that's something that a defense can use to say this should not be admissible in court. So if the dog handler was like too much, too heavy with this bad cop routine, then a defense lawyer could quite easily get it thrown out and considered inadmissible. Which is why I think that Daniel is over-exaggerating all this. Yeah. The goal isn't to make an arrest here. The goal is to secure a conviction. So everything they do, every interaction with Daniel, they're going to make sure that they are looking at it from the perspective of, is this going to hold up to a challenge in court? The way Daniel's describing it would be something that could be challenged in court. And I just don't see that happening from an experienced RCMP officer. So this guy's gotten under Daniel's skin in a big way because he has questioned Daniel. He's confronted him about his lies, essentially. He's pushed the whole thing of, we don't believe you're Thursday, there's not enough detail. And this has gotten under Daniel's skin, so he's going out of his way to gaslight this guy and make him look bad. Yep. And handlers must. Daniel probably just didn't notice the camera. But I can guarantee 100% that those dog handlers would have had cameras on. This is a really, really important case. They're not taking chances. There's no way that they would have gone to the expense of bringing in dogs and their handlers from different provinces and not had them wearing their cameras, their body-worn cameras. Like I said, at the very least, not so much about because of interactions with Daniel, but because if the dogs had alerted to anything on the property, which I believe they did, that camera footage is something that they can actually use in court. So I don't believe Daniel when he says that there's no camera footage of it. What Daniel's saying here is, I'm lying, basically. Exactly. He wants to make himself look like a victim of police bullying. He doesn't like that these dog handlers didn't treat him like a friend, like Major Crimes were doing. Because Major Crimes clearly figured him out pretty early on. So they pandered to him. best way to get someone like Daniel to keep talking is to act like you're his buddy. But these dog handlers don't have to deal with him again. And they also have the convenience of being not directly connected to major crimes in Nova Scotia. So they were the perfect choice for the bad cop thing. Thank you, Bonza. Very, very much appreciated. So very much appreciated. And hopefully I'll hear soon in terms of what's happening with something for Layla. But I realise it's going to take a while because the family needs time. I wouldn't be surprised if evidence was burned in that wood stove. But I think too, that the dog handler was definitely trying to just get him off balance a bit. I think while he definitely would not have been going to the extremes that Daniel's claiming here, the goal definitely was to get him off balance. And how better to do that than ask about the wood stove. But it's possible that one of the dogs could have alerted to the wood stove. We won't know because apparently Daniel and Janie don't know what it looks like when a dog alerts, because we had that description from Janie that was a perfect description of the dog alerting. So, we don't know. Not necessarily. It would depend on what was burned. If you were to burn clothing in the wood stove, for example, that smell wouldn't really linger. It would just, you wouldn't really smell anything significant. I don't think it wouldn't be a smell that would linger. Obviously, they're not suggesting that there were any human remains burned in there or anything. But yeah, I think, some things you're not going to have a smell afterwards. Like to install them in a property and leave them there. Heck yeah. Yeah, they can. They can also, yeah, this is Jack and Lilly we're talking about. Nancy, welcome in. Yep. Just reading through stuff. Oh, yeah, if you put anything plasticky in a wood stove, you know about it straight away. But if you were throwing in bits of clothing, the smell's going to dissipate. And we're talking about potentially from late Thursday afternoon through till 10:30 the following morning. I don't think they would have burned anything plastic or rubber because I think that smell would not go. That smell would cling for quite some time, and I think the police would have smelt it. But if you're talking about fibres, then you're probably not going to really smell anything. Yeah, exactly. Cotton, bamboo, might smell different, but it's not going to smell bad. But in terms of synthetic fibers, yes, it would leave a smell for a while, but not for like, you're talking over 12 hours. If they burn something Thursday evening and then they were still burning things in the trailer, especially Belinda said that when they went there, the door was open. So it seems that they had the trailer open as well. So if they'd been burning things on the Thursday, unless it was like rubber or other things, then the smell could well have dissipated before anyone was there. Oh, for sure. If whatever the clothing was that was burned had fasteners or buttons or anything. Just reading Alana's thing, I have to do something for a few minutes. Okay, go on a bit more audio.
That was super unprofessional. It was done in a way where, like, it was, and he like put his hand on my shoulder and he was just like trying to like get me to confess to something I've never done. It was a sick move to ever,
kind of like
to be manufactured by him. But the thing is, Sonny, those are formal interrogations or formal interviews. Yeah. They're done on camera. They're done in a way where it's constituted.
I probably should have paused there. Yeah, as if he knows what professional is. You know what's really interesting here? And I think I'm going to go back and do like a proper language analysis of what he's discussing here. Because first of all, he says that, he tried to get a false confession out of me. He tried to get me to confess a false confession to murdering the kids. So that's not him saying anything about, I didn't do it, I didn't murder the kids or anything. It's just saying this is what he tried to do. But then when it gets down to what he's saying there, he's saying they were trying to convince me I did something wrong and I've never done anything wrong. So note there's no denial here when he's putting it back on himself. Now that he's talking about him specifically, he's not even suggesting anything to do with Lily and Jack. He's making it very vague. It's that whole the denial that's not really a denial, because he's not saying I never hurt Lily and Jack, I never killed Lily and Jack. He's just doing this very general term of I've never done anything wrong, which we know is BS anyway. But it's this deflection. He's not going to address the question of did he kill Lily and Jack. Instead, it's just going to be a deflection of I never did anything wrong. No specifics whatsoever. Anyway, moving on. Yeah, never done anything wrong. He's such a saint.
Constitutionally done.
He didn't have a body cam?
No, there's none of that. There was none of that. And they were trying to convince me that I did something wrong. And I've never done anything wrong.
What a tosser. They were trying to convince me that I did something wrong. but I never did anything wrong. How can you convince someone that they did something wrong if they were innocent? But you know what? Exactly, Nancy. Show me one person. I will, Karen. Show me one person who's never done anything wrong. Like, seriously. Let's run that back a little bit. I want to hear that whole conversation.
Having a private conversation with me where he tried to get me to confess a false confession to murdering the kids. And that was one of the most unprofessional things I've ever seen law enforcement ever do to me. But interrogations should always be professional, and they should be on camera or audio recorded. They should never be done the way it was done. That was super unprofessional. It was done in a way where, like, it was, and he like put his hand on my shoulder, and he was just like trying to like get me to confess to something I've never done. It was a sick move to ever,
kind of like
to be manufactured by him. But the thing is, Sonny, those are formal interrogations or formal interviews. Yeah. They're done on camera. They're done in a way where it's constitutionally done.
You didn't have a body cam?
No, there's none of that. There was none of that. And they were trying to convince me that I did something wrong, and I've never done anything wrong.
Yep, you're right, Karen. He gets the elongated vowels again. The wrong. Yep. You see this with Daniel and Janie. Both of them do it. When they talk about accusations, when they talk about someone making an accusation towards Daniel, they use murder because obviously it's more confronting. It makes it sound like these people are the worst people in the world because they're accusing them of murder. But when you hear Janie and Daniel talk about it directly, like Daniel saying, I never did anything wrong. Janie's version of that, when she's talking directly about Daniel, it's Daniel never unalived those kids. So they're manipulating people with the way they use the words. When they're trying to create shock of how dare people accuse us of this, they use murder. When they're trying to use denial, when they're trying to say this is not possible, they tone it down to not doing bad things or never unaliving, or they never use murder in a direct way of Daniel never murdered those kids. You will never hear Daniel or Janie ever say that. Yeah. There is definitely a bit of Forrest Gump going on there. Oh, dear. I just want to get to... hang on. There's a little bit more of that before it moves on to a different bit. So I'm just going to run it back just a little bit again and just finish the last.
Kind of like
to be manufactured by him. But the thing is, Sonny, those are formal interrogations or formal interviews. Yeah. They're done on camera. They're done in a way where it's constitutionally done.
You didn't have a body cam?
No, there's none of that. There was none of that. And they were trying to convince me that I did something wrong, and I've never done anything wrong. And that's what I mean. It was a very very crazy situation to ever put somebody in that went through a tragic event.
Basically,
Bingo. That's a good spot to stop, isn't it? What's he saying about tragic events? That's a very crazy situation to ever put someone in that went through a tragic event. When you talk about tragic events, you're talking about death or permanent incapacitation of some sort. Tragic has the connection with death. So him blurting out and describing this as a tragic event, I would have said stressful, maybe, but not tragic. If you said to me, oh, I feel sorry for that guy, he's just gone through some real tragic events, I'd be going, who died? A little slip up there from Daniel, or perhaps a big slip up. Because he's done it again. He does this so frequently. He focuses so much on his narrative that he forgets to pay attention to the language. And this is when you get this leakage. Just the little words here and there that pop out that give things away. Yeah, event as well. Yeah, it's so true. Event is also an occurrence, like something happening. And this is not the first time he's done this. Referring to a thing happening. Not a case of kids going missing, but a single moment in time. When you talk about a tragic event, you're talking about a single moment in time where somebody loses a life. An event isn't the long-term thing of children being missing. An event is a single moment in time of something happening. So, yeah, good point on that, Karen. So true. Yeah, definitely a difference between trauma and tragedy. Him referring to it as a tragic event gives himself away really, really badly. Well, that's the thing, especially because he keeps claiming that he believes, he's confident that the children are still alive. He's still trying to push the narrative that Malaya had someone take the children away, while being very careful not to say that outright anymore because he got his ass whopped for it. So he wouldn't be, if he truly believed that the children are alive and that they're hidden somewhere, it's not a tragic event. It's this, to me, is leakage. There's a number of instances where him and Janie and even Malaya make references that sound like the children died. I mean, we're all filled with pain and sorrow. They're just reference after reference from all three of them that points towards a single event happening, a tragic event, something that happened in, you know, a moment of time that cost them their lives. I hate even thinking about that, but this is what their language points to. Janie, this is where everything happened, exactly. This is where it all happened. There's so many others. And I might actually, I'm going to make myself a note because I might go through. I just made a note of that. I'll go through and I'll pull out all the other references that are there. Because there's a lot. I mean, they're the standout ones. Yeah, that look on Janie's face. That look is, they say a picture's worth 1,000 words. Hers is worth like 1,000,000 words. Whatever it was. And what was it the RCMP said as well? I can't think of the comment that the RCMP said, which also pointed towards, you know, some sort of violent event. I think she knows. When I see her face, when I see that look of horror on her face, that's someone who, that's a look of someone who's seen or experienced something traumatic. And she's talking about that she didn't think that Daniel did anything, that he wasn't responsible. And you get this look of horror on her face. Actually, Alana, I pulled it up when I was doing Janie's, when I was going over Janie's interview, I pulled it up as well. So it's good to know that you saw it as well. I know a lot of people use the screenshot now. But it was certainly something that when I was doing Janie's interview at the very beginning, I freeze framed on that and was like, wow. Also with the Janie crying, and people were like, you know, no, she's not crying. I'm like, yes, she is. I still haven't found the audio of Darren saying that. I'll have to go look for it. Because people keep mentioning it, but I haven't found it. I'll have to go look for it, that's for sure. Alana, I wasn't doing live streams back then. So it was definitely something where, because when I do my video analyses, I go through and I do look at expressions and everything. I mean, you could be right, but I distinctly remember pulling it up in the first time I looked at Janie's interview. You might have seen it and pointed it out in someone else's live. But I wasn't doing live streams back then when Janie did that interview. Anyway, I'm going to wrap it up there. It kind of goes off in a different direction after that. And it always brings me down when we reach a point about actually thinking about, I try not to think about what happened to Lily and Jack in terms of, you know what I mean? If I'm going to be able to keep coming back and talking about Lily and Jack, some of the thoughts about the situation are things that I can't linger on too much. So this is probably a good spot for me to finish it here. Let's just keep Parker in our thoughts and prayers and hope that he's found. And let's just pray that there's justice for Lily and Jack and that the answers don't take too long. Anyway, on that note, thanks for coming in. Please hit the like on your way out. If you're new, please subscribe. And if you're listening on replay, please leave a comment.
I think